Hi guys, my name's Anthony Scott. I'm a landscape designer based in Melbourne, and I not only design gardens, but every now and again I actually get my hands dirty and build the odd garden as well. This little front yard is one that we just finished yesterday. We've been here for about a week and a half turning this one around, and when I first came out to see this front yard, before we designed it, it really wasn't much to look at. There was a lot of stone mulch all over the place, which looked really horrible, sharp, ugly, and then combined with a mishmash of plants. It was everything from cycads through to grasses, through to grass trees, and then over on the boundary, the lily-pilly standards, which have got more of a classic look, just didn't make any sense. So moving forward, the brief was, Anthony, we want to keep the lily-pillies, which I actually like. We want to keep those standards, but we want to make this garden make sense, and we want it to also look lush, inviting, and have street appeal. So we thought, okay, fair enough. Well, look, let's start with it making sense straight away. We sort of thought by having those stands, it would be nice to bring some more of those ball shapes into the garden. So that's what we did. We've got some Japanese butzes here, we've got some Trucriums, and we've got some Restringia Jarvis Bay, all different sizes. They'll grow a little bit and fill out the space. But just the different colours will work well together. Now, we were really lucky that we could get some advanced sizes, because it just means that you can bring some impact in straight away. Now, to fill in this space and to work with them, we've got some Lamandra frosty tops here, which will just make this void look really nice, and just a nice trade-off between the balls and the grasses there. Over to other ground covers, the Stutchies lambs here, an old favourite. Great texture on these, great little bright colour. The idea with this was it's just going to fill in this little void here, spill over the edge as well, and bring a little bit of brightness to that corner of the garden. Along our boundary line here, we've gone for an Acmeanum, which is a forest flame. Now, these guys don't get too big at all. We'll be able to keep it clipped to the height of the fence. We'll also be able to keep it nice and narrow. What I like about these is they come out with this nice sort of red, burnt sort of growth, which looks really stunning in the garden. They're also great as far as psyllids go, and protected from them, so it makes them a really good choice. Now, along our borders, we've got some Gardenias. These are the Gardenia stars, 50 by 50, nice compact growth. You get that beautiful glossy green leaf that you would get from a Gardenia. Flowers are a little bit smaller from, let's say, an Augustifolia, but you still get a really good perfume out of them. And we'll be able to keep this little hedge nice and trimmed as well. Now, back to the front gate over here. The front gate is actually off-centered from the rest of the main entrance. So what we did was, rather than sort of have a path that sort of snaked in like that, which I think is a little bit antiquated, we just decided to have a path that sort of went straight and then stepped over and went straight. By doing that, we could bring pockets of garden in where we needed it, but also pockets of lawn in as well. Now, by bringing this lawn and extending it through this area, it often, softens this little bit of paving here, but also gives the lawn that feeling of more space. So, which was really important in a small area like this, is just creating that illusion that you've got more area than you actually have. Now, with our planting here, what we've done, you can see we've continued the same sort of blend of planting through there, the same sort of colours and the same sort of plant out, just to give it that feeling of continuity and structure. Along the back, under those standard lily pillars, we've got some scabolas, which are working well. They'll bring in a nice carpet of purple at the back there. We've also got these little Dwarf Lavenders. Now, these little fellas here, they're on their last legs as far as the flowers are concerned. They'll be getting cut off soon and dead-headed. What I like to do with these little munsteads, or any lavender really, is I normally cut them and give them a bit of a domed shape. So when they're in the off-season, they've still got a good shape to them. And by doing that as well, you're going to make sure that you get some really good growth coming out next season after that as well. Now, with our feature bowl, this is obviously the big statement in the garden, 1.2 diameter. We wanted to make sure that we can bring lots of colour through here, so we were lucky that we could get our hands on some really nice stock. As you can see there, we've got a good blend going on. Further down at the base here, we've got some Senecio, which is the chalk sticks. Now, these will just all knit together eventually and create a nice sea of blue under there, which is going to be a really good setting off plant for that bowl there. Coming through the rest of the garden, you can see once again we've continued the same sort of planting through. It's always good to keep that structure going and not get too eclectic with your planting. And then we're now back to our front entrance, which you can see the front doors behind us. So a couple of tips just with putting this garden together and you know, finishing it off. It was really, for us, it was about the soil. So once the design was done, it was making sure the soil was really good and that we could get it working well for these plants. Now, Williamstown, where we are here, is just literally 200 metres. It's a little bayside suburb of Melbourne. 200 metres down the road there, we've got the beach, and you'd think that because the beach is so close, the ground here, the soil here might be nice and sandy. Well, it's actually not. It was really terrible. It's really heavy, hard clay, lots of rocks in here. So what we did is we came through, we excavated a lot of the garden beds. We made sure that the soil was really well conditioned, got lots of gypsum in there, sand and all the rest of it, give it lots of drainage down nice and deep. What we've done as well, as a mulch, we always like to use shore crop. Shore crop's actually a compost, but as you can see, it's got that really fine texture and it almost looks like a soil. And on a garden like this one, that gives it a much better finish. I never really have been a fan of that really tanny looking mulch. Don't like the look of it. Shore crop's really good. Now just with soil, my final tip, if you're new to the game and you're sort of looking for you know, the best understanding of what a soil might be in different areas, really good idea to speak to someone that builds pools or, you know, does a lot of digging in a certain area and talk to them about it, because with pool builders I quite often talk to them if I haven't worked in a suburb before and say, hey, what's the soil like in such and such a place? And they'll be able to tell you not only what the soil is like half a metre underground, but 2 metres under the ground. And you know what, really good resource to use. So make sure you speak to your pool builders and you'll get to know a bit more about the soil. Anyway guys, thanks for listening. Good luck with any projects you're doing yourself, and take care.